Boom, 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 boom.
You got to hold this. Because it's about you, isn't it? So do that.
Yeah, are we recording?
Oh shit, my fucking... Hold on, my whole front's sticking out. Hold on. Let me just...
I know, that's why the boys were helping. They were like...
Just be a bit ladylike for once.
Are we recording yet?
I don't know. Yeah, it's on.
Ready?
So you've got It's a Wrap. First guest, Johnny Nelson.
Jeez.
Right.
Let's do it then.
Let's do it. Gotta make sure these cameras don't glitch. First of all...
Are you sure it's on?
Yeah, it's a red button.
Oh, right, then no problem.
Johnny Nelson, welcome.
I'm impressed because I've walked in here, you had like 3 of the Sky crew setting up things for you, and I'm like, what have you said to them? How have you done that? Setting up your cameras, setting up your microphones, setting up your scene, giving you tips.
Just being helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. You've done well there.
It's nice. No.
Well, can I mention the obvious?
Yeah, go on.
What's going on?
What, with the hair?
Yeah. Whose is it?
The thing is, what I've learned through life, because, you know, we're both old fogies, aren't we? So we can be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
Through life, you can't just have one personality. So this personality is, I'm gonna call her Marsha.
Clarissa.
Marsha.
All right, Marsha. How many personalities are there?
Mate, I've got a few.
Jesus.
I've got a few. I think I'm bordering on borderline personality disorder, if I'm honest.
Oh, we've met a few of them.
But it is what it is. We get on. But first of all, I want to say a massive thank you for
This is your first one?
It's the first one.
Yeah.
It's going to be uploaded onto Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
I haven't got a Spotify yet. So what I'll probably do is put a cheeky little trailer. Hopefully, if it works, records well, we put it up on Apple Podcasts. So
keep doing what you're doing, and then it'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
It'll get there.
Johnny, somebody that's been in the industry for a very long time.
A long time.
But it's good though. How have you managed to stay and be successful in boxing for so long? Because you can teach a thing or two to the fighters that are coming through that will eventually retire from boxing.
But I think to me, you've got to be you, number one.
Yeah.
Don't try to be somebody else. Talk your truth, so you can always argue your case. Because if somebody pulls you on the same thing you said 6 months ago, then and you've contradicted yourself and twisted yourself up, then all of a sudden you're flawed and people will give you so much stick. And that's it. It's like a lot of fighters, and I've said it before, and AJ might be pissed off with it. I'll say, why fighters trying to be AJ? There's only one AJ. You know, I mean, he's made a great business out of who he is. And so fighters, just be yourself. Let people see your personality, and if your personality is attractive, people will be attracted to it, even if they like it or not. To be in this game, I've seen both sides of the fence. I've been a fighter. I've been a champion. I've been a guest. I've been a pundit. I've done all of it. So to me, it's not a job. You just talk what you see, and that's it.
But how hard is it to talk what you see? Like I said, we're living in a
woke
I'd
society.
Say, I think that boxing is evolving. I do think that the crossover boxing has brought out these weird and wonderful characters that have taught people like, actually, you can be yourself. Yeah. Goofy, weird, stupid, only fans, whatever it is. You can be yourself and still be somebody. Moving with the times, I think that's something that I will say that you've got as an attribute. You're able to fit in to whatever time period it is because you're open to new ideas. You're open to change. You're not regimented.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, there's a thing called boxing snobbery. And the old boys, you know, it's got to be like this. It can't. Now the old boys look like dinosaurs, and they've got to move with the times because your crowd, your audience, the people that are putting money in your pocket are a new crowd. So you've got to try and talk their language. And if you can't talk their language, try, or try and understand at least, or try and, you know, be accommodating. And you've seen them all come and go. You've seen fakers, you've seen freaks, you've seen proper bad men, and you can always separate the two. Get to a point where it becomes pretty easy. And you're talking about these, you know, these all shapes and sizes with the YouTubers and the misfits and things like that. Like it or not, you know, they've got one aspect of it right, which is PR, marketability. They've got that side of it right, regardless of what we think of their ability. If they can fight or can't fight, most of them can't fight. But the marketing side of their character, fighters, real fighters, need to learn from that. And so again, it's a lesson learned for everybody. So you've got to embrace it. You've got to look, see how it works, see what they're doing. You look at these guys, these YouTubers and everybody, they're on every show going. And you know the host of the show has no idea who these people are, what they do. All they know is they've got mad numbers behind it.
Mad numbers.
And that's what they're chasing. So instead of actually trying to vulture off them, you've got to look and learn off and think, wow, what are you doing? How's this working? And then drop it like that.
One thing I will ask you about is something that I haven't asked anybody about really, and it's the feedback from somebody like yourself that's been decades in the sport. Your perception on media. I'm learning. I've been doing this. This is going to be year 3.
Yeah.
The first year was online because of lockdown. A lot of us came out in lockdown, discovered ourselves in lockdowns. But you know what? I'm going to try this. I've been accredited to shows. This is coming into year 2. Your advice for people like myself in the industry, what is it that you don't like about us, and then obviously what you do like about us? Just be honest.
Well, I think unfortunately, especially in the media, you've got to be politically aware that if you do or say one thing, you might not get the work the next day.
Well, I'm fucked.
So that's what I'm talking about. So right now, that the gripe I have is when you guys are doing your job, there's an element of guys that are thinking, I'm not going to ask that question because I don't want to interview the guy I'm interviewing or the female I'm interviewing, because if I piss them off, I'm going to struggle to get another interview with them down the line. I'm struggling to get my press pass. I'm going to struggle for that. They won't want to come and talk to me. They won't want to be open with me. But actually, in reality, if you are good at your job will last longer than theirs, because they'll all come and go. They'll all slip by the wayside, number one. Number two, if you ask the questions that evokes emotion and evokes discussion and makes them think, yo, I don't like that, and gets them to be there, to either cuss you out or answer you out, then you'll get the respect of it, but you'll get pissed, you'll get cussed out at the same time. Take the cussing. Take the cussing, because your job is to ask the questions. You've got to ask the questions that when the people are watching it, they want to say, yeah, I'd have asked that. Oh, shit, I can't believe you said that. And if you're doing that, people will respect you. They'll respect you. The person you're interviewing might not. They might not like it, but they'll respect you because of your honesty and you're not kissing ass. I did an interview the other day with Coogan, and he was asking me about the Simon Jordan
hot topic.
Yeah, Simon Jordan, Eddie Hearn interview. And I rated it. Why did I rate it? Because Simon, and I rate Eddie Hearn. I think he's a top dog promoter. He's like, he could sell you a car without wheels on. But so could Simon. And Simon, because they're good talkers, they're charismatic, they're very intelligent, they understand the legals, they understand what's happening behind closed doors, they understand a lot of things that is said on camera can't be said on camera. So they understand it. So you had two bulls in a pen. And what I liked about Simon was he was questioning the answers. And Cool said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, what happens? You saying I don't do my job?" I said, "Yeah, you do your job. You think you asked you the question that the public want to hear. Then when you've asked the question, you say that box is ticked. You're not questioning the answer. Question the answer." Simon Jordan, he was brilliant in regards to dogging Eddie. When now Eddie came out with an answer, no, that's rubbish, and stuck to it. He wouldn't let Eddie fabricate an argument, a conversation there, and then get mixed up in that. He said, "Whoa, back up." Now, Simon Jordan, he was well aware of he knew the answer to many of the questions he was asking. And I think Eddie kind of did too, but he wasn't sure. So I rated that. But I've got to rate Eddie for actually putting himself in the position. He put himself in the lion's den. And so I've got to rate him for it. So what guys like you and can learn from that is you've got to search your truth. And I'm telling you now, people like Michael Parkinson and stuff like that, they were hated at one bit. Ali hated my man to begin with, accused him of being a racist and everything. They ended up doing 3 interviews in Ali's lifetime, and they are iconic interviews, and you can see the friendship grow and the mutual respect grow with these guys. You will get respect if you ask questions that you think, Most people think, shit, I ain't asking that. Now, if I don't want to answer the question, I'll say, you know what, I don't want to answer that question. You know, so then they've seen, I'm not comfortable with that, but at least I've answered it. And you've asked the question. If I give you a bullshit answer, and you answer, and you're cornering me, and you can smell a lot, you're thinking, nah, drill it, chase it down. You're one of the very few that actually does that, which is why I think you'll have a few hurdles to jump over, but slowly but surely, you're getting the respect. You know, people are like, I ain't fucking with it. You know what I mean? But so they understand you're going to ask those questions. So certain people that are avoiding you, they're avoiding you for a reason. And certain people that do your job, they're looking at you, and if they're chatting about it, it means they're admiring you. If they're chatting about it, it means you're doing the things that, you know, they're trying to, it's like passive bullying. You know, they're trying to make everybody say, oh, look at it. And so if everybody's laughing, you'll stop doing it. You know, you do your
it don't
thing.
work like
yeah,
that.
you do your thing. And that's why I think what you're doing and how you're doing it, it's going to take time. And eventually, you know, people will, that'll be your rep. That'll be, and you've got, it takes time to build a rep. And so that's my advice for guys like you doing your job.
No, I appreciate that. I've been through, quite a bit in my life anyway, personally. So I think when, like, I'll get people that will say stuff that's others will see as negative, I see it as fuel, because I was always told I won't amount to nothing. I was always said that nobody will like you, nobody will want you. That's kind of like the momentum that I've gone through my life with. So things like that don't bother me. Sometimes it's laughable. And somebody said to me once, whether they're saying good things about you or bad things about you, they're still talking about you.
Yeah.
So it's never really a bad thing. And one of my mottos is stay ready, because that's what I believe. You should always be prepared for absolutely everything.
And people are looking at you when they're thinking, how is she doing it? How's she bankrolling it? Let the mystery roll. Don't tell them jack diddly do. Let the mystery roll, because when they eventually, you know, they're going to be coming and asking you advice, and you're going to have to say to them, be you. Stop trying to be like the rest of the sheep. Be you. You know that you're going to give them advice down the line. But at the moment, the journey is as important as the destination. And so the journey you're on to get to that destination of respect, where people are coming to you and saying, you know what, I want to get an interview with her. You're on the journey, so you've got to go through it.
Yeah, I mean, those things are good to see, but the reason why I ask you stuff like this is because there's plenty of people that are in my position, either they're thinking about starting, or they have started, or there's even experienced people, you know, that I'd say, like, you've got the top people, which are like the channel workers, the BBCs, the Sky Sports. You guys are, you know, the top guys. You paid, that's your job. Then there's a massive void within the industry, and then there's the YouTubers. There's a few top YouTubers that are in that grey area that are climbing their way up.
Let me give you an example. When Coogan first started, he was the first.
He was
the first. And I remember when everybody else started trying to do it, Coogan was kind of pissed off.
Was he?
Yeah.
I can't imagine him like that.
He was kind of pissed off, but then he actually thought,
he's a trailblazer.
That's right. Actually understood where he stood. But he was threatened because people were doing it. And then all of a sudden he thought, no, because he knows he's top dog. He knows he's been there years before anybody else did it. That's why he's got the numbers. That's why he's known worldwide. And that's why when we go away, people say, where's Coogan?
Where is he?
You understand? So he's put the work in, so now he understands it and lets people do their thing. But initially, when he started, he was on your path. That idiot there, who's this kid there? Blah. People were blanking him. Now, people phone him up, yo, can I do an interview? They're chasing him for an interview. He's in a position where he can pick and choose. But he had to start somewhere.
I think I've had some fantastic guests, yourself, you know, one of them included. I remember when, you know, it's kind of still a bit surreal for me because I've always been a fan of boxing. I've been watching boxing for years. So I remember seeing you guys, you know, on Sky doing the commentary, and it's like, you know, listening to the stuff that you were saying and kind of like fueling my fire. And then to be able to get into the industry and to be even sitting here having this conversation with you now, it's like...
The biggest compliment to me is I did an event last night and I smiled. I thought, I like that. A couple of compliments. One is when someone said, I didn't realise you boxed. And I start laughing. Because I think it means I've been successful in 2 careers.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
So that's number one. When they say, like, what do you know? You don't. And I'm just like thinking, that means I've done well
world
there.
Champion. Wow.
And the other one is a guy said to me last night. He said, "You know what? You're just like you on TV."
Yeah.
And we weren't on. We were just sat down talking. We was eating before I had to go on stage. And he said, "I know I like you. You're just like you on TV." And you've just got to drop it like that. If you're just you got to think. If you're honest with yourself, it doesn't matter what everybody else wants you to say. I know for a fact there's certain fighters that think I have an agenda with them, and I don't. I just say what I see. I know certain fighters think I favour one over the other. I don't.
But
I know.
what if you do though? What's wrong with having favourites?
But even if I've got a favourite, I will still talk the truth. You know, it's like when Kel was boxing. Was it Triple G?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I knew it was a tough fight for Kel. So there's a way you can say a man's going to get beat without saying he's going to get lost. You know what I mean? So if it's a friend of mine, I'll try and sugarcoat it. You know, but I'll always say it's a tough ass. You know, if it's somebody that really really puts it out there, I'm like, why? I used to be a fighter. I used to be on the raw side when people chat shit about you. I was on the other side when people chat great stuff about you. So all these things hurt. So you just got to say it as you don't have to be mean, you don't have to be rotten, you don't have to ruin a fighter. But if somebody's proper bullshitting to the point where they're making a living at it, I'm calling them out. I call them out and I just think, I don't care if you think I don't like you, because that's not true. It don't matter what you think. I know it's not true. But I'm going to call out your bullshit. Now, the masses, they'll swallow your bullshit, but I won't do that. And so when I call them out, they don't like that.
But then that honesty, like you said, you're one of these that will say it how it is. I can relate to that because I do. But I think just because you've got favourites doesn't mean that you can't provide like a constructive conversation with others.
Yeah.
I think people, like, you get so many fence sitters in the industry, and it's like, you know, I must be impartial.
And the devil's in the detail. The devil's in the detail. So when you're talking about something, listen to what's being said. You know, don't go, oh my God, he said it. Listen to what I'm saying. So there's
people don't listen. Though,
they don't. They don't.
Just jump straight for the.
So what Brendan says, leave them ignorant.
All right. I like that.
You say, leave them ignorant. Drop it like that. You can't be everybody's cup of tea. That's what he says. So leave them ignorant.
Before I touch on some other stuff, recently we've had Lawrence Okoli, who makes his Sky Sports boxer debut tonight. Truly excited about that. And then you've also got Joshua Buatsi, who makes his Sky Sports boxer debut on May the 6th. Up my side, which is Birmingham.
On your doorstep.
It's not really, it's Coventry, but they're saying it's Birmingham. But whatever.
We expect you to be taking out some food joints when we get there.
Listen, I've got you.
Oh, I'm just
I'll
saying.
I'll get a little minibus.
Bus. Is it?
And you can hop on.
All right. Okay.
What did you think? I was just gonna be me and you?
Yeah. I thought you just said I'll get a little hot stove and I'll come and cook you some food.
No.
I want some proper Birmingham grub.
Yeah, I'll show you.
All right,
I might even cook you something actually.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, we can do that. But we've got both fighters. I spoke to Ben the other day. Got some feedback on his. In fact, let me find it. Got some feedback on the conversation I had with Ben. Let's have a quick look. Ben. It's quite interesting because a lot of people said that kind of like rattled him. One of the comments.
Was that yesterday when you were hanging about for ages?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I
thought he was trying to avoid you.
Did you?
Yeah, because you were there. You were there to the last.
Yeah, I was.
Everywhere you went, it was like a magnet. Everywhere was like, and I'm looking, thinking, she's going to let him get away. And you were set up and you were on him. And I thought,
to be fair, I didn't think he wanted to come on because one of the first things he actually said was, "You do long interviews," so he came at me with a negative. Yeah. Like, do I really want to do this? Which I've kind of like got used to it. I
was there.
Yeah.
Until everybody's interview, and it's hard because really the same question that you're asked there, you're going to be asked there, so you kind of repeat yourself. So sometimes you get a bit pissed off with it, but they're all different outlets. So this is what you've got to do. It's part of the job. So I understand from his point of view, like, oh God, another one. Oh God, another one. But to start it on a negative, he's basically trying to say, cut it short. Don't do it long. You know, I mean, that he's saying that. But I was smiling. I was watching it like a game of tennis, thinking, let me see where you're going. But you got the interview, so how was it?
One of them said, "It is what it is." Like, I understand that not everyone's going to want to come on the channel. I get that, because one of the things that's been said to me recently is you don't get the numbers. So you can't be like privileged, say like the the top channels.
But one day you are going to do an interview and you are going to get a soundbite that will catch people's attention and go, what? Who is this? And it just takes that one. It might be that something. It might be AJ coming to you and saying, you know what, I'm quitting, I'm out. And you blew that out.
Okay.
And oh my God, who is this girl? I've heard what AJ said. So it's just the opportunity. And you just got to get the right person, right time, right interview. And it's just time. And a lot of these guys will they'll throw a whole heap of nets out, hoping they'll just get one soundbite that'll point people in their direction. So what I'm saying is think outside the box.
But that's what I mean. I'm not in the box because I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it so in 20 years' time, in 30 years' time, generational families of the guests will look back and say, oh, that's what such and such was like in 2022, 2023. Oh, that was just before they got the world. I'm not about that, and I've never been about that. It was never about that. The views, the popularity, I don't fit in. I know I'm not the mould of Miss Media. I get that. But I'm about just grabbing that essence, that content from the guests.
You're a character. And like it or not, you're a character. Eddie's a character.
So are the guests.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So regardless of how weird or wonderful they think you are, they're going to talk about you. Whereas most of them, I'd struggle to name 4 or 5 different other guys that do this job. A lot of them know who you are.
It's funny you should say that, because when Lawrence Okoli came off the set, because I was thinking, Lawrence ain't going to give me an interview, because you know me, I've been blatantly obvious that my favourite is Richard Riatpur. Why is Richard Riatpur my favourite? Because he's
a handsome motherfucker.
All right, he's handsome, of course he is, but by the by, it's not about that with me. I'm too old for that shit. Richard has sung my praises in front of my face and behind my back.
Yeah, that's what's important.
He shared my work and he supported what I do.
Yeah.
So of course, I'm gonna say that's my guy. So
what did Lawrence say to you when
Lawrence walked up to me and went, October Red Boxing, and shook my hand. I was like, "Rah, you remembered me?" Because I was thinking he ain't gonna. Yeah. And then he came to me. First, after he did all of the correct commitments with Sky, with Boxer, etc., he came to me, and to me that was respect, and I appreciated that. But some of the comments, going back to what Ben said, great questions, October. Was he getting upset?
Yeah.
So that was one of them. Another one said, quality interview, no arse kissing. Well done again, October Red.
Listen, I'm telling you now, and I know this from when I used to box. Yeah. I know this from when the press used to be on Naz and everybody, and he'd have them waiting for ages.
Yeah.
And we'd be in the hotel room, and he'd proper disrespect him when it was in time. Like if you were down here waiting, say we got an interview at 1 o'clock, you'd be all here at 6 o'clock still waiting.
Right.
And he'd be just upstairs in the room, just like chilling, doing nothing. And I used to see that, and so. But what I'm saying is, you how you do it. What you've done is you. I'm trying to think. You stick at it. You respect it, because no matter what, you get the piece. You get the interview. People want to come to you. When you're a fighter, when you're a sportsman, you don't really respect the press.
Okay.
Because you don't think you know what you're talking about.
Roy Jones Jr. said that.
Yeah, you don't know, and so therefore you're thinking a waste of time. If I'm sat down with Roy, if I'm sat down with any old school coach, and we're talking boxing, I don't want to leave. You know what I mean? I'm like, yes. But when you get somebody that just is reading his questions of a thing, and you know straight away, this guy has no idea. So you're just like, yeah, you're not respecting them. There's no respect there. So that's why certain men will get disrespected. Certain men they'll just get dismissed. Because this fighter, I can speak from a fighter's point of view, doesn't respect you. He'll do what he's doing because he's got to do it, but you don't respect it. You'll know if you're getting a good interview if people sit down with you and you've not done the run of the mill, you've got them talking about stuff, you've got their attention. You're like, yeah, I get that, and it makes the difference. I'm telling you, I've been on that side of the fence, and I know what the thought is. So when we're sat in a hotel room and them man are waiting for hours downstairs, Naz is like, stuff it. He didn't care because he knows he'd still be waiting. But if it was somebody he respected, he'd bend over backwards for it.
So earn the respect.
Yeah.
That is good. This is a bit random, I don't even know if you're going to answer this, but one of the things that I wanted to speak to you about is relationships in boxing. When I see fighters, and I'm talking about partnerships, relationships, not with teams, etc. Whatever those relationships are, how hard is it? Because you've been there, you've married, etc. How hard is it to maintain a relationship when you're a fighter? Because you're getting TV time, you're winning fights, you win fights, your status goes up. You're going to get women, literally, or men, throwing their underwear off.
Brendan used to say, you've got to have a woman that'll stand for the 3-card trick.
Three-card trick?
I said, what do you mean, Bren? She's got to understand you love her and you love your boxing. And she's got to give you that blood and say, go and do your thing. Right? But as long as you're respectful to her. Now, because boxing can take you away 7 nights a week. Boxing, don't know about Christmas, don't know about Valentine's Day. Boxing is boxing. So, and it's hard to have a woman that actually, or a man that actually gets it, that actually thinks, all right, I hear that.
Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.